Hi everyone, welcome to Adventures with Raven and Rowley. I'm Raven and this is Rowley. Last week I asked, what is your fear about getting out on the road and becoming a nomad? In this week's video I'll be talking about ways to feel safe and stay safe while living and traveling on the road. If you're curious, please continue to watch. Okay, so you've decided to become a nomad. These are my thoughts on the ways to stay safe. I feel settled about these decisions, okay? Let me start by saying that I don't know anything about guns, okay? Except that they shoot bullets. That's it. One of my biggest fears has to do with a flat tire. Being out in the middle of nowhere and getting up in the morning and finding the tire flat. More than one. Oh God, that would be terrible. I've never changed a tire. My thought is that my fear is a result of a lack of knowledge. So I went down the rabbit hole of YouTube. I've got a tire repair kit on my wish and want list. I keep putting things on the list because I want to remind myself what I need to get, you know. And so I need to buy those things before I get out on the road. And I don't want them continuously circling around in my head, so I just stick them on the list, right? I'd like to take a tire changing course just to get a hands-on, but I have no idea where to do that. I figured when I get a car, which should be soon, then I can ask the mechanic there or something, you know. Does he know anybody that'll teach me? Will he show me? You know, that kind of stuff. But meanwhile, as I said, I've been going down that rabbit hole in YouTube because I figure I have knowledge and tools, if not experience. You know, I'm 2/3 of the way there. So it's best to have those tools with me. So I've got a tire repair kit on my list. Breakdown is another fear. I had AAA when I had my car, so I'll be towing 6x12 cargo trailer, so I figured a AAA Plus would be better, would be the best for me to assist in allaying my fears, because I may never break down, you know, I may never get a flat tire, you know, you never know. If you know anything about cars, you're better off than I am when it comes to that kind of thing. Of course, I would take a course if need be, if I could. But I'm not into going to mechanic school to find out how to take care of whatever that breaks down, you know. I do think that I should be carrying basic tools like a drill, a hammer, nails, screws, screwdrivers, you know, that kind of thing, just in case something comes loose that I could fix in a quick hurry, you know, or a jury rig or something. I don't have a fear of being alone. If you do, then stay in touch with those people that count, you know. Get a personal safety app for your phone. They have SOS features, GPS notifications. In some cases, some of them will record video and voice in the SOS feature. And quite a few of them are free or very nominal fees for them, just for your own safety. You know, keep your friends and family aware of where you're at and how things are going. Use Google Maps at the very least to allow people to follow your ride by GPS so they could see where you're driving and where you've been and that kind of thing. The problem is with that is that, of course, it eats up batteries, so your best bet would be to plug it in while you're driving, and that way you don't have to worry about the batteries. Now, personally, I'm thinking about taking a self-defense course. I've been investigating this, and there's none available locally, although there is one place that's saying that they're thinking about putting it on the schedule for September. We'll see. I'm not in mad rush right yet. Although I have been YouTubing down another rabbit hole. I'm good at jumping in rabbit holes, you know. Because I know that knowledge is better than none. So I use mental imaging while watching those videos, because it's proven by athletes that your body learns through imagination. So you could actually sit and imagine doing something and have those particular muscles fire just because you're thinking about it. It's a case of doing exercise while resting, you know. Of course, there's manual defense, things like guns. I don't know nothing about guns, except that they shoot bullets. I've got knives, and I want more knives. Like, for instance, I really want a machete. I feel that it would be useful for me as a tool in the wild. But I would feel better, I would need and I would feel better about them, about using them as a self-defense mechanism after I take a self-defense course, which I have on my radar to do. Then there's, of course, a cancer wasp spray. Well, it has come to my attention that it's illegal to use wasp spray in defense in some states because it causes blindness. Now, my thought is that if you're attacking me, I have the right to defend myself with any means possible. And that's it. So if you end up blind, that's a shame. You shouldn't have done what you did, you know. Payback is a bitch. A friend suggested that I use spray paint. She uses spray paint instead of wasp spray. And she figures that she can say, well, the guy with the purple paint all over his face and stuck in his hair and all in his clothes, that's the guy. You know, it's hard to wash that stuff out, you know, especially while you're trying to attack somebody. You know, any means possible. Secure your rig from robbery. Now, from what I understand, usually that kind of robbery is an opportunist form of theft. You know, if they see an easy mark, they'll go for it. If not, they'll walk by. So you lock your door every time you leave your rig, okay? Put a lock on the tongue and ball if you're towing something. Put on wheel locks, you know, so it makes it difficult to pull it away. Take your chains off, you know, so that they can't just tie up the chains, bypass the ball and tongue, and just tow your rig away. Make it difficult for them to steal your stuff. Now, if they really want it, they're going to get it. You know, it's the same thing in a house, in sticks and bricks. You lock the door, you shut the windows, lock the windows, you know, that kind of stuff. Keep yourself safe. Just because you're out in the wild or in the city, wherever you are, doesn't mean you shouldn't do the same things, you know. And then you need to mentally secure yourself from harm. Like, for instance, take a course in self-defense. But bring attention to your gut. Everybody says, listen to your gut, you know. Well, how do you know when your gut is telling you something? I found that you become very alert. All of a sudden, everything seems kind of quiet around you, and you kind of say, wait a minute, something ain't right. And you find yourself looking around a lot, okay? Your hearing becomes alert. You become aware of unusual noises, coyote, people, bear sounds, things that are there, sounds that are there that are not supposed to be there. I mean, if you're out in the middle of country where there are coyote and bear, but you hear people walking around, you know, you pay attention. Your stomach gets knots. I don't know how to describe how your stomach gets tied in knots, but you know when you don't feel quite right. You feel stressed somewhat. You keep thinking about whatever it is that's bothering you, like you're supposed to be alone out in the backwoods and there's people walking around, you know, see a car around or anything, and you keep saying to yourself, oh, they're just other campers or whatever, but it just doesn't feel right. Let me tell you a story. The first time I came west, I was in a car towing a trailer. And since we couldn't back up, I didn't know how to back up a trailer. As far as I knew, you couldn't back up the trailer. You know, we would stop at motels that had drive-through driveways, so we didn't have to back up or pull through, drive through, whatever, so we could just drive in and drive out. So we would get off the highway, we would look for the first motel that had driveways like that, and we'd stay there the night. We came into one town, I don't even remember where it was, and we came to this really nice looking motel. The prices were right, everything was right, except that it didn't feel quite right. So I said, let's go on to the second one. Just for the heck of it, let's just go on to the second one. That was the first time we went on to the second one too, you know. And we couldn't come up with a reason not to stay there, but we didn't stay there. You just went to the second one. So I woke up the next morning, turned on the TV, and in that very motel, there was a cop killed that morning by a thief who was robbing a U-Haul trailer just like ours. And they were in the area of the lot that we were looking at, thinking it was a good spot. Pay attention, you know. The other thing is that if you find yourself getting annoyed with yourself because you keep looking and thinking but don't see anything unusual, you know, not all danger is from people. You pay attention, just stay aware. It's tiring at first to do this all the time, but it becomes a positive habit after a while. I mean, you know instantly you don't want to stay there. Think to yourself when you're feeling strange, what is my gut trying to tell me? What words come up when you say that to yourself? What it is about this place? You know, why shouldn't I stay here? If you just keep getting, you better get out of here, then you better get out of there. You know, pay attention and don't discount your feelings. If you got to go to 3 places, you go to 3 places, you know. And unlike the idiot in the horror movie, get out. You have wheels. Okay. Let me do a personal safety addendum here. So when you're talking with anyone who doesn't have a need to know, don't give them your name. For instance, if you're at a gas station and you're gassing up and somebody comes over and wants to talk to you and that kind of stuff, you don't have to give them your name. You don't have to tell them where you're going. You don't even have to let them know that you're traveling alone. You could shout at your imaginary kids in the car if you feel threatened. Unplug and get the hell out. You have wheels. And then scream if necessary. Don't holler help. Okay? Holler fire if you need a word to say. You know, otherwise just scream. Scream like your kids do when with all of your lung power and as loud as you possibly can. Dance around them. Make them think you're really, really, really crazy. Turn around in a quick hurry. Consider how many times can you get away with really screaming as an adult. Let me tell you another story. I used to belong to S. That's Earhart Seminar Trainings. Oh God, that must be 40 years ago. Easy. And the last lesson of the last night, and before we could go home, and until we did it, we couldn't go home, was to scream. We had to scream, really scream. And just hollering at them. There was one-on-one. There was a person in front of you and you screamed. And until they said, yeah, you really screamed, you weren't going home, okay? And it would change. The people on the other side would go down the row to the next person, and listen to them scream. And if one of them said, yeah, okay, you can go, then you could go, you know. Of course, you learn to scream in a quick hurry. Anyway, so I was, after that session, I don't know how much longer after that session, but after that session, I was riding on the wooden roller coaster in Coney Island in Brooklyn, New York. There's this peak there that when you come down, you are literally standing up on the footboards of the roller coaster. So you go from a seated to a standing position, right? And it's fast. So the thing about est was, they said, when you get the opportunity to scream, then scream, because adults in our society are frowned upon if they scream for no reason. I mean, you got to have a real good reason to scream, okay? So I screamed. I screamed. When I got off the ride, the people came over to me. A lot of people were very solicitous, wanted to know if I was okay, because I sounded absolutely terrified to them. I wasn't terrified. I was having a great time screaming, you know. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, who knows, that was the last time I've screamed, really screamed. So my thing is you got to plan ahead for contingencies and prepare, you know, get yourself comfortable in your own knowledge, and then you can go out and have fun. You don't have to sit around and think all the time, is this the right place? Is this the right place? Is this the right place? You know, whatever. You'll know when it's not, okay? The Rowley Report. I've been allowing Rowley to run out of the full 25 feet on his leash. But it causes problems when he went around corners. He'd go around the corner and barking and scaring a lot of people coming that way. And of course, I didn't know they were coming that way because I was around the other side of the corner. So I put him on a short leash until we got past the danger points of where we walk. I didn't realize until then until I made the leash shorter, that he snorts when he wants to get something. So anyway, thanks. See you next Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. Stay safe, take care of you and yours, and blessed be.